Hi, this is Andrew Wicklund with PRC Software, and I'm going to go through the test network function after importing a Microsoft project or Primavera P6 file. So what we've done to this point, we imported a file, we looked at the checklists, the schedule and the import checklist to make sure the data came in and it's what we think it is. We looked at this plan summary just to see what the information that came in. And you can also go to the Gantt chart and look at the Gantt chart view here, so you can see everything came in here. So what I'm going to do from here, and this is a part of how I would teach other tools back in the day that didn't have this function, is I would tell people to go in and do the testing yourself on the network. And what we did is we put in here, if you want the ability to test the network real quickly, you can come through, and it's kind of like a quick risk in Primavera risk, where you put a load of risk over everything. But it allows you to set up some templates up here. So if you knew this project was, fairly pessimistic in nature, if I hit this pessimistic button, it gives me a 90, 100, 130% spread relative to every remaining duration. So if we had a 10-day duration, it would go from 9 to 13 days because it's doing it on a percent. So this is doing it to test it, but all I do is hit apply this risk range. Now earlier I'd added a couple milestones in here. So I have my final report, my building demolition. What I'm going to do now that I've loaded that in is just click apply. And then I'm going to hit report export up here at the top. So it ran the simulation. As you can see, it ran it really, really fast. And now it's going to open this on wherever the file is. So I have my file on the desktop. It created this export. And from this network test, what it will do is it will look based on the versioning that we put in, the 90, 100, 130% or whatever, the uncertainty. Now it's going to show how much contingency was built based off of that, when the target date was. So that one moved out from January to March. That one moved from January to March. So I put pessimism on the schedule. It moved us out a couple months. You want to make sure that's in line with reality. Now you've got all this information down here, like your P85s and things like that. This is just to me, it's for testing the network. But one of the things that I want to come in here and do is look at the drivers that lead up to this milestone. So here's the drivers that lead up to the final report. And it's showing based on me putting that just a base level of uncertainty across everything. My contract process, my site mobilization. And as you can see, kind of these top 5 ones are the ones that show up as your big drivers. So you would expect that to pass the smell test. Now, if you look and you go, wow, I'm missing a foundation on there, and I know I have to place equipment on it, and it's critical path, then there's got to be some kind of error with the logic in your network. It does this for each and every one of the milestones that you selected. So I selected 2 milestones. So here's my building demolition drivers, and you can see I've got a couple of the same drivers because this one's earlier in the process, but the report's further down the line, so it has some additional line items in it as well. So that gives you the ability, and then once you're done and you've tested this, you'll see if you go to the Gantt chart. Now your min, likely, max. Min, likely, max. 9. So there's a 10-day duration one. Shows you 9 days, 10 days, 13 days. So it's exactly what we were expecting. So from there, if we go back, now, there's uncertainty now across this entire project. All you have to do is come back here to your test network, and right at the bottom right-hand corner, just hit clear all. Cleared the risk ranges, and then apply that. And then you go back here and you'll see everything is 10-day duration, but 10-day minimum, likely, and maximum. So it's kind of an overview of just this network test in general. But there's things that you can see when you test the network, like if there's gaps in the Gantt chart, you might see non-working periods that you're hitting. But those two charts that we really always look at before I'm going to run an analysis, because I want to make sure I know what my data is telling me with just a base level of testing risk applied to it, or uncertainty. So that's a little overview of the test network section, and next we'll be moving on to the Gantt chart view and doing some navigation there. Thank you.